is next going to occupy this seat of power in Telangana after the November 30 voting and December 3 counting? We should hopefully know the answer for this. The reason we have come here is because these are new landmarks that have come after the 2018 election. This secretariat, of course, in the same place that the old secretariat was there. Just by the side of it, the Ambedkar statue, the tallest such statue in the country. And behind is the Telangana Martyrs Memorial. All of them politically very significant. And therefore, we are here to discuss perhaps what is going to be your most informative, most analytical and most authentic information. I have with me very senior journalist from Telangana. Between us, we were just discussing, we have more than 100 years of experience. We have here Balu Pulipaka, Ravikant Reddy and Vamsi Srinivas as well. Coming to you, Balu, first, what are the big issues this particular election? What is the topmost?
I think it's anti-incumbency. There's a very strong sense of people want to try something different. Welfare and development are there, but people
anti-incumbency top for you.
Well, I think yes, the anti-incumbency, not in real terms of anti-incumbency, but the talk of anti-incumbency is going to play a major role, I think.
Yeah, well, I feel it's KCR versus KCR because it is the same thing. Whether they want to give him one more chance or they are so angry that they want to vote him out of power is what we are going to see.
I would actually agree with Vamsi saying that whether KCR should continue a third term in office, that's what is a big issue thought in everyone's mind, I would think. Many would actually argue that from 2009 onwards, when we lost our then Chief Minister, Mr. Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy, KCR has probably been the tallest leader. And in that sense, perhaps it's almost like a third term for him. That's already happened and now it's a fourth.
Yes, it is. But see, I also I definitely agree with Vamsi, what's saying about KCR versus KCR. There is a tremendous sense of alienation. See, the reports from Gajwel, whatever I could hear, his two-time where he won from, people don't want a chief minister there. People want an MLA. They say
You say KCR versus KCR. What does that mean?
KCR versus KCR, I think we will leave it to Vamsi to explain it best. He started that.
No, as I said, whether they want to give him a third term, because as you rightly said, he is the tallest. Some leaders grow in stature so much that at one stage everybody will think, can anybody replace them? Then slowly sets in among the electorate, I would say the boredom. From there, the people will look at from the magnifying glass. Whatever he said earlier, whatever he's saying now, is there any contradiction? Whatever he promised, whether he delivered or not. And the concept of this, you can't fool all the people all the time. So that also starts setting in. I'm not saying that it is exclusively for KCR, but anybody who is there in the power for at least 2 terms. So that is what we call that slowly develops into the anti-incumbency.
It's very interesting, isn't it? Like Balu was mentioning that KCR is contesting both Gajwel and Kamareddy. So does that show any bit of nervousness? We'll come to this thing about MLA versus the Chief Minister. But does that show nervousness on KCR's part?
I don't think it's nervousness, but it's more of a strategy. Because what I believe is, the northern Telangana, the Adilabad and Nizamabad districts, which have been very strong for BRS for the last 15 years. We see some kind of weakening there, and his presence in Nizamabad district is going to help Adilabad as well as Nizamabad districts and the neighbouring part of Medak, which are attached to those districts. So I think his
in this context, actually, you spoke about MLA versus Chief Minister. If you are saying in Gajwel itself that feeling is there, that means choosing Kamareddy would have actually been creeping some kind of an insurance.
It is seen as an insurance. I would definitely consider it an insurance. Calling it a strategy is fine. It is a strategy. If you think you're not very strong in one place, you look for a safer bet. So that is strategy too. But remember what he said. I don't know how many people paid attention to this fact. He met with party workers in Gajwel some time ago. One of the big complaints there was that he's never available to them. And he promised them saying, next time I will come and spend 1 day a week It's a very, very strong feeling in that constituency among people. Yes, people have benefited. He was the chief minister. From there, people have benefited. A lot of benefits came. A lot of development has happened. But the voters want someone they can relate to directly.
I actually disagree with you that people want an MLA instead of a chief minister, because if Gajbel has been pampered like no other constituency perhaps, do you agree with what Balu is saying? Or is KCR actually, I mean, he's been saying that in every place that he goes that, next time I'm going to come here, spend 1 week, 1 day with you, which really shows that he has not been doing that and he wants to do some course correction.
Yeah, nothing new in chief ministers contesting from two places like we have seen in TR. But there, what people are now looking at, perception of the people is more important. There, he tried to convince that I'm representing all the 3 regions of erstwhile state. Now, what people are looking at, he could have as well contested from Kamareddy only. Again, this Gajwel and Kamareddy is giving a scope for the opposition to say that you are not confident of Gajwel. And coming to the part of development, development definitely plays a very important role. But as I said, once that boredom sets in, whether the people will really look at the development or some other issues will play a role is also an important thing.
So Gajwel, of course, she is going to be trying to do a, E-Tailor Rajender, who was minister in his cabinet, is trying to take on KCR, trying to do a Suvendu Mukherjee, what he did to Mamata Banerjee there. How good is it looking?
Yeah, well, it's a keen contest. We cannot say that he's comfortably is winning. That much I can say at this stage. And even Kamareddy also, it's not going to be a cakewalk. Things are...
In Kamareddy, we have 2 potential chief minister candidates. I mean, let's say one is a sitting chief minister, of course, and the other is a potential chief ministerial candidate. And what we understand is that the BJP candidate is a very strong candidate too.
But I think Mr. Revant Reddy, the Telangana Congress president, fighting in Kamareddy, I think it's a perception strategy. But KCR is weak. I mean, he's not as strong as people think or perceive. So I think Congress wants to send a message to people that there's someone in Congress who is willing to take on and who is better than Revant Reddy. So you never know. If something happens and Congress wins there, I think that's really going to change the future of BRS forever. So that's a big strategy.
Yeah.
That's a big strategy, which a gamble which the Congress took. And if it pays off, then the future of BRS will be at stake forever.
It will be very interesting, isn't it? If you saw 2 chief ministerial candidates and they get vanquished by a third person who is so-called a nobody in politics so far, at least in terms of profile. You spoke about MLA versus a chief ministerial candidate. It would probably send a very wrong message to politicians in general, that you pamper a constituency, but it doesn't really pay off, because the landscape of Gajwel has changed. They have done everything possible that a constituency can get, and yet you're saying his chances look a little difficult.
Yes, I am saying that. I'm saying that because this is what one is hearing from the ground level. You see, people want a chief minister. Sure, there's nothing like having your MLA as the chief minister on a larger screen or a larger picture. But here the problem is, he also needs to be accessible to them at some point of time. The policy of the BRS government appears to be, you need to go meet the chief minister only when every other system down the chain of command fails. But people want that.
Even then, whether you can get to him, I doubt.
Oh, it is very, very hard. You see, I keep giving an example of how accessible the chief minister is. If you go to Pragati Bhavan, anybody walks past Pragati Bhavan, old, infirm, whomsoever it is, even people who can't walk properly are not allowed to walk through the barricade safely. They still have to fight with the crashing traffic and get out. For me, that is the measure of whether a person is accessible or not, or at least thinking in terms of what is it that the common person wants.
But I would say,
I would love to go and meet my chief minister, you see.
One minister told us that a chief minister need not be accessible to everyone. He is not meant to set right your road and drainage and electricity lines, and that he has a bigger vision that he has to follow. I would also argue that in 2018, that was a big issue, inaccessibility of the chief minister, but he still won the election grandly.
2018 was different for two reasons, I would say. One, the delay in announcement of the Congress candidates and the Mahakutami with all the parties, that stretched to last day of the nominations. So nobody knew who was fighting whom and where. And apart from that, one big major issue I saw which went in favor of BRS at that time was the entry of Chandrababu Naidu. The way Mr. KCR, highlighted that issue, turned it into his favor that you need Kaleshwaram or Shaneshwaram, which actually struck with the people. That slogan of Kaleshwaram or Shaneshwaram, that really struck with people. That was one reason. Another major reason I think rural areas that impacted was the Raitu Bandhu money, which was given to the people just one day before the polling, 2 days before the polling, and some got even when they were in the line to cast their votes. So that I think played a huge role. So apart from that, I think the 5 years that KCR ruled, a lot of schemes, and the opposition opposition actually looked very weak in the sense that they couldn't put up a strong face.
Honeymoon period certainly continued, but is inaccessibility? Yeah, is inaccessibility still an issue? Because it's not just about the common people. We have all chatted with MLAs and ministers who also say accessibility is an issue.
Yeah, see, coming back to that CM versus MLA, I'll draw a comparison between Harish and let us say Gajwel CM if you take. Despite the development, whether you are accessible to or not, and the system you create as your representatives, how good they play and how good they are with the people, that also matters. With Harish, he is directly in touch with them, whereas CM will build a system because of his other schedules. So that system, whether is helping him or not, is the big question here. And Gajwel, I think people are more angry with the number 2 structure he created rather than the chief minister himself. So that is one part. And accessibility, if you see from 83 where the bipolar, not only the MLAs, even the chief minister, ministers, everywhere they are seen. They are in among the people everyday kind of a thing. Like it continued with almost all the chief ministers except those 3 Congress chief ministers between. Again, Chandrababu Naidu, Rajshekhar Reddy. We have seen chief ministers in public versus this one. And 18, nobody did not bother because it is a very pure positive vote. He did lot of things on irrigation, which would not be done for last 40-50 years. And he showed that
make a big difference, didn't it?
That made a very big difference. And this Raitu Bandhu, as Ravikant said, and all these schemes, I am sure that even without Chandrababu Naidu thing has definitely helped. Without Chandrababu Naidu also, people would have voted for KCR, was my view at that time also, because of lot of things which he could show to the people. And again, as I said in the beginning, people will start looking at the negative points which they would have otherwise ignored when they are happy with their governments.
Okay. BJP, in a sense, should I say, this time around was hoping to become, make it a tri-cornered contest, let's say, but is it really a tri-cornered contest?
No. It's a straight fight between Congress and BRS.
Well, I think as of now it looks straight between BRS and Congress in 1/3 of the constituencies. 2/3 of the constituencies. 1/3, definitely other parties are going to play an important role, including BJP. BJP is just gaining traction. If you look at, I've looked at some of the surveys. In the last 10 days, it has gained 2 to 3%. So I think in another 10 days with Modi doing road shows and, all the union ministers coming in, I don't think they'll make a huge impact. But even if they could attract, 1 or 2%, in key constituencies where there's a tough fight between Congress and BRS, that is really going to help BRS.
So is BJP going to spoil the party for the Congress?
My reading, yes, I think it's the dark horse of this election. They may not win, as in win enough seats to come to power, but I think they're going to get anywhere between 15 and 24. I'm sticking my neck out here. And
15 and 24?
For BJP?
He says.
I think it will be single digit only. That's my perception.
Yeah, single digit only. Because I'll tell you, if the election is fought on anti-incumbency, why a person who is angry with the government will waste his vote by casting to somebody who is not sure of winning it? So he will decide. If you look at the minority vote, that is the swing which the Congress has gained just because on the simple reason that at some stage BRS and BJP has compromised now, and maybe in the future also they may compromise. Is the perception Congress could successfully drive and then could get the minority vote.
Minority vote is about 13%. In how many constituencies are they going to be a decisive turn?
In about 30 constituencies. But like minorities, if you look at MIM, it has a strong base of 5 to 6% votes, which anyway will go there. Will go to MIM.
But that is very concentrated, since MIM in many ways is only confined to the city, and they are only fighting. Of course, questions have arisen about their role in only limiting themselves to 9 seats in the state, even though you have enough number of other constituencies where there is a Muslim population.
Yeah, but that's what in about 30 constituencies. So it all depends on which way the Muslim vote swing. As of now, I think they are divided. A lot of people seem to be preferring Congress over BRS because of that BJP and BRS perception that has actually gone to the ground level. People are even today not willing to believe that BJP and BRS are separate. So when Muslim voters look at that, they'll definitely prefer a Congress leader than the BRS leader.
You spoke about the BJP graph going up. That's surveys you mentioned. But what is the reason for that? Is it really that OBC CM being announced? We all know that the BJP is probably not going to form a government here. Though, of course, every leader says whatever our numbers, we'll probably form a government. Is that also possible?
No, that is a very, I would say, an insult to democracy. All the parties saying that we will manage.
Don't put it past the BJP.
we will manage is something wrong, I would say. That you are saying that I will openly encourage the defections, post-poll scenario. But I don't see any reason why they would get a traction also, because once they removed a BC leader, and after that they announced that they will make BC as a chief ministerial candidate, and even the SC categorization also, which made Prime Minister Modi made a big issue out of that. But he could have done it, and still there is time for him to do it as a Prime Minister. He could have done that actually.
Their own minister in Parliament has said it's not possible because of states.
Exactly. So see, thanks to social media, I would say that now today in every village, irrespective of their age groups, gender, anything, their social stature, everybody is aware of what is happening around in their state or in their country. So they are making, they are analyzing, and they are taking decisions. They are discussing and they are taking decisions. So now it is high time the politicians also reinvent themselves. Whether they can continue to say whatever they want and get away with that.
Yeah. So beyond the mainstream media, the fact that there is a lot of digital media on which a lot of information is shared and easily accessible, that's of course a big strength to democracy. But is a misuse also happening, would you say, on that front? Because using of social media platforms that we are not even aware of, they are informal platforms, chat groups that are happening. Is that possible to influence an election?
Oh, definitely. Because we were just chatting about it before we started this conversation. You get reinforcing messages. You look at a particular video or you look at a particular piece of news, and what you get subsequently is something on those lines. The suggestions that come. Most people do tend to look at those suggestions. The more you look at them, the more reinforced you get. So you're getting one side of the story, not the other side of the story.
But all of them seem equally smart on social media platforms, isn't it? I mean, now, whether it's a BRS or the BJP, we always knew that they had a good machinery. But now the Congress has done very well. Their campaign seems to be more well prepared than anyone else.
Congress is definitely doing so much better on social media, whether be it in terms of their ideas in campaign, the shorts or the clips, whatever they're using. I think they're doing very, very well. But yeah, I mean, see, social media, I don't know how much actually in the end it matters, because people are still going to take their own decisions. The way I say it, right now it's 50% entertainment. It's more of
elections is also half about entertainment, isn't it?
Elections are about entertainment. Elections are about entertainment in so many ways. But social media, what's happening is you get a laugh out of it. Most of them are aimed at mocking the others. So what you're evoking is laughter or derision. That's what that is being aimed at. So,
but there is an important political message that people do take away, isn't it, from beyond the humor. Humor works very well to convey any message.
Yeah, that's true. But one big failure of the mainstream media has been that they have failed to set that agenda for elections. Earlier, that was the case, and people actually used to follow that. Political parties used to follow that agenda. The biggest loss of mainstream media is gained by social media. Now, social media sets a trend, but that is again limited to certain sections, certain pockets. But when a voter goes out to vote into the polling booth, I don't think his influence of social media will actually help him or force him to choose a particular party. But it might really happen with a candidate. But if they want to vote for a party, the social media influence might not be as much as what we all perceive.
Let's come to the Congress, the most important player perhaps in this election. Initially, the feeling was that they were not doing anything much, but because the BJP made some mistakes, like you mentioned, the BC leader was replaced, and you had the issue of Kavita, whether she'll be arrested or not, local leaders saying that she's going to be arrested, and no action taking place on that ground, leading to the feeling that BRS and BJP are together. What has the Congress done beyond that to be able to get this? Are they only riding on the boredom with a KCR?
Yeah. First, we should give credit to Revant for rejuvenating the Congress and bringing it into the electoral battle. And then suddenly the BJP thing happened. Everybody was expecting a kind of a triangular contest where the BRS will have some advantage kind of a thing. Suddenly that has changed. And then the Karnataka election also has added the positive impact. And I'm sure going the way they're spending, so definitely funds are also there could be some truth in their opponents' allegations that they are pumping from the Karnataka and all. So you can visibly see that they are spending more definitely this time. And successfully.
If you were to think about relative terms, BRS is one with very deep pockets and BJP is the one with the maximum electoral bond.
That's what I'm saying. So they are not left out, we can say, at least on that count.
So
they may not be able to match. Yeah, it is almost like a level playing field it has come. And second thing, yes, definitely they're constantly harping on the these, and not only anti-incumbency and the failure of Dharani portal, which is for the land management, and some irregularities that took place. And of course, this Kaleshwaram thing unfortunately happened, whichever the government it could be, but it is sad to see some damage to the structure. So they are also.
They actually have a political impact. The Chief Minister in every meeting is talking about the Dharani portal. They'll throw it into the Bay of Bengal, and he's probably, I would say, effectively conveying that it is linked to Raitu Bandhu. Whether or not it is.
No, but Dharani definitely will streamline even in future also. Definitely without your consent and your fingerprint, you can't sell. It is a very good idea. But in the process of this transformation to Dharani, a lot of irregularities took place, and then people who is having some good influence, they could manage some land and all that. And secondly, people are not believing that it will eradicate the corruption, because it shifted from one department to another department. So how people will react is I have my own doubts on.
You think it's a political issue, Dharani? I mean, all the political parties talking about it. They say we'll replace it with Ma Bhumi or whatever else that they call it.
Yeah. I think when the two other major opposition parties, and including BSP also, they're talking about removing Dharani and replacing it with some better management system. I think definitely that's a big agenda for people as well. It may not be a huge impact on the urban areas, but in rural areas, definitely it's going to impact certain minds. That even if you don't have land, people start thinking that the government is trying to grab lands from others. Maybe tomorrow is it's my time tomorrow. So that kind of fear has been created by the opposition parties, and there is some truth in it, because there are some irregularities which have happened in the system, and the mechanism that was supposed to cut off that actually still exists. Instead of going to MRO, now people have to go to collector. Even collector doesn't have that power. Then he has to go to CCLA. So just imagine that the system, that chain. If the MRO stops it, then you have to go to CCLA. So other middle structure has been removed, which maybe the Chief Minister thought is actually good, but it ultimately.
It sounds well intentioned for sure, but it is becoming a political issue, is your thing, because is there that much like Ravi said, there's fear, apprehension, but already is there so much of frustration with the system that can actually change a vote?
I'll agree with both Vamsi and Ravi on this. There's a very strong perception, and there are people who have suffered during the transition from the previous system to Dharani. What the opposition parties are saying is, this has happened. People have lost land. You cannot trust it. Even though the government says, the chief minister goes about saying Dharani must be there. See, what BRS has done, in some ways, managed to do it, is they tried to portray Dharani as some kind of a physical, it almost sounds like a physical edifice. It's not, it's just a piece of software. But when you listen to the ruling party leaders talk about it, it's almost like someone's going to bring down a building. It's not. One software can be replaced by another software.
Yeah, you change the name and you say I'm taking care of the irregularities. That is one side. The caste factor, always in any election we talk about it. Of course, all of them more or less I think have given 43, 44 BRS in Congress for the Reddy group. And the BJP very consciously only about 30. Perhaps the Reddys don't vote for them. Only 6% of the population is the Reddy population. But what the BJP has done different than the other two parties, I would think, is in the OBC numbers that they have given. If these both are at 23 and 22, the BJP is at 40 actually for the OBC.
Well, I think Telangana is less castiest compared to Andhra and Rayalaseema regions when it comes to voting and all. For quite long time, they never really taken caste into consideration while voting. And Congress is traditionally...
Telugu Desam and Congress was there, wasn't it so clearly? Kama, I'm this side, Reddy, I'm that side.
No, if you take that same comparison for Telangana, it doesn't work at all because Kamas are very, very, very... Yeah, and also they're not influential across kind of a thing. At least in Andhra, you can say couple of districts, but here only few constituencies.
So does the caste factor actually getting neutralized? What I meant was that even the vote share of the Reddys, or you say Dalits, or you say STs, they seem to be kind of divided. Even the Muslim vote in many senses, except the BJP doesn't get it.
Yeah, traditionally, as I said, Congress is dominated by Reddys in other parts of Andhra, and now in Telangana it continues to. So I don't think caste is going to play a big role.
OBC factor, BJP getting the votes?
I don't think OBC, that the BC chief ministerial candidate announcement by the BJP will actually help them in the way they thought. Because it's too late, just before 20 days before the elections if announced, and I don't think people will not take it strongly. And OBC vote is not structured, it's not like one big group like Muslims. So OBC,
130 different groups.
Yeah, there are in fact 113 different castes. And there are, even among OBCs, there are 3 or 4 dominant castes. Which actually then the most backward castes don't get a representation anywhere. So entire MBCs will vote for, I don't think they'll vote for other OBCs. So they'll look for a better candidate. And one, as you said, you were talking about the Reddy factor, and I think Telangana definitely Reddy factor will play some kind of role. Because traditionally, it's not because they are upper caste, but traditionally Reddys have been in politics. It's like a profession to them. And in villages, so they have good contacts, irrespective of their stature. The contacts with the BCs or SCs and STs have been traditionally on good terms. It's not like, particularly in Telangana, if you look at the Naxalite movement, the Maoist movement, it was dominated by the upper caste. The Reddys were who played a major role in constructing that movement and leading that movement. So traditionally they have that kind of relations with the OBCs and SCs, and for them profession.
So they are able to influence votes. Are we still in that feudal structure, should I say, where a Reddy leader makes certain decisions and it goes down the line?
No, only at the constituency level, I suppose, not at the entire state level. A few places. Otherwise, I don't really see caste as a huge major factor. I would rather see religion as a major factor because of the BJP pushing it very, very hard. Otherwise, caste, I don't really...
Are the majority religion people actually bothered about that? Does consolidation happen the other side as well? You see that in the north. Here, consolidation, does it happen towards the Hindu side as well?
No, not here. Not here. This is a completely different set of population altogether what we are looking at. We've traditionally been far more accepting, accommodative here. And this is all new, actually. All this talk of Hindutva and all the pushing that is happening is all new to us. It takes time to percolate. But the BJP is hoping that it has already percolated to some level or the other. But
And when they talk about family politics,
Actually,
is that...
I agree with Balu on one point that BJP could not make Hindutva politics a strong base here. But if you look at small towns in the last 7-8 years, 10 years since Modi has come, I've been watching these Ram Navami programs. So we go to small towns, not Hyderabad, but small towns in the districts. Earlier they there never used to be the Sri Ram Navami processions, rallies. Even if there were, if only few people, the real religious guys used to attend. But if you go to small towns now, BJP organizers, you are seeing at least 10,000 to 12,000 people in those processions. And among them, majority of these youngsters, who are between the age of 20 to 30 group. So I think it has percolated to some kind of level that Hindutva politics.
Actually, we never saw those Hanuman Jayanti Yatras.
Yeah.
I remember being stuck on this road for 1.5 hours because there is a Hanuman Yatra. So, and that age group perhaps is again worrying. I mean, are they being used because they are out for fun? And it helps. It kind of is just like for Ganesh Chaturthi, we say they're out to have fun as well. But there is politics in it.
But the Sri Ram Navami things, that rallies happening, that's, I think, one has to look at it very seriously in the, particularly in Nizamabad. Why Arvind has won. And it's not just because there was, people were certain things about, they were against Kavita or against BRS. There was a lot of work done there. Traditionally, Nizamabad has been a base for Jansang. And there are a lot of, action put into it to bring those youngsters. And that continues now. So, I'll not be surprised if BJP wins 4 to 5 seats or 6 seats in North Telangana itself because of that one particular factor.
And do those constituencies necessarily need to have the other factor, yin and yang type of thing? I mean, you have to have a Muslim population there as well?
No, I don't think it's not. It really does matter. But BJP is consolidating on these youngsters. You know that everyone, a lot of people are Hindus. I mean, majority are Hindus. So you really have to tap that religious feeling. And obviously the social media helps, when they target Muslims, they showcase them as, enemies of this country and all that. That plays on those young minds.
That's quite dangerous thing. Interestingly, they have also put, a free trip to Ayodhya, to Ram Temple, as one of the promises in their manifesto. So is that going to have resonance?
No, it may not have any immediate impact. But if you see Bandi Sanjay's growth, and the BJP's growth in Telangana is definitely because of this aggressive, not only against BRS but against the, the traditional what they conceive as a political rivals as the Muslims, if you look at. But somewhere it is at that level now. I don't think in this election it will translate into votes also. But maybe in the long term they will definitely try for this kind of a religious polarization also. And Telangana is also a good potential for them in that sense, because there is a considerable, as Ravi said, in 30-40 constituencies, if Muslims are in a sizable numbers, then these people will definitely try to, attempt the polarization thing.
Okay, I'm just going to come back to one more thing. This new secretariat that was built. Last time round, money being spent like that, COVID had not happened yet, but that was a big debate. But this doesn't even figure in any talk now. Is it because people are very proud of the structure that's come? This entire landscape has actually changed. Behind that, what Nagaraj is shooting, behind that is the Ambedkar statue. Of course, many people can argue that the Dalit Bandhu was brought in, or the Ambedkar statue came in. The secretariat is called Dr. Ambedkar Secretariat. All that was, in a sense, KCR making up for not having a Dalit chief minister, and also for not giving the landless the land, most of who may have been Dalits.
No, there are. You can look at the way that why they themselves have excluded these things from the campaign. Also, you should look at, like Kaleshwaram, for example. You won't see now Chief Minister or any other ministers talking about the greatness of the project. Similarly, when like as you said, the Secretariat or Ambedkar statue, they themselves consciously excluded it from their campaign. So which we can see that may not convince the people on that, or it may actually boomerang. That could be the factor. So they should be in a position to tell why they have themselves have excluded from the campaign.
What is your thought?
No. As you said earlier, we discussed this, but the chief minister staying away, not meeting people. So if people are taking that seriously, they'll also take Secretariat seriously. That nobody is able to go there. The entry is restricted even for
Journalists certainly are angry about it.
Yeah. I mean, media, which was pampered by or rather, given good space in the Secretariat earlier, now feel they are rejected. They're
Outcasts.
Yeah, outcast. Yeah, outcast to say the right word. But people, I don't think these edifices will actually make an impact on the voter, because this is an urban area and people are going to vote based on that. I don't have access to Secretariat, but it actually contributes to the overall perception that this chief minister is not, he's not welcoming in his heart when he wants to meet or when people wants to meet him. So that might add when they look at these edifices, but these particular structures will not really help BRS to gain votes. But on the negative side, people might these might play on the minds of people looking at that CM is not meeting us. They are going to vote on that particular point, and these will add.
Interesting actually that the Congress also played on this. In their manifesto, one of the first things that they speak about is governance, where they say we will restart Praja Darbar, every minister, a chief minister, like it used to happen in YSR's time as well, that there will be a Praja Darbar, and they were going to be calling Pragati Bhavan as Praja Paripalana Bhavan. Those things again play, where you spoke about inaccessibility to Pragati Bhavan, those big gates there.
Yeah, first question, to answer the first one, I don't think this really matter in terms of voting. And I'll agree with both my colleagues here.
Actually, there is a lot of pride, and our neighbouring state, Andhra Pradesh, people there were feeling jealous. Acha, your chief minister has been able to build it within a year, and we have not managed despite not having a capital.
Yeah, but you see, what is it done? Ultimately, what is it supposed to do? It's supposed to be a nice, good office, comfortable place where people can come and execute and do things.
Better administration.
Exactly, better governance and better administration. The question is that happening? The question is that happening? So, if the government perceives that there are gaps in delivery, then it definitely doesn't want to come and show that, look, I've built a swanking new building, but you're still not getting what you want to get. I think exclusion is a strategic decision.
Okay. Before we wrap up, just one last thing. Family is being targeted by a BJP. Congress doesn't speak too much about it because it gets targeted itself on it. Is it really an issue?
No, 18 it was there. No? By 18, everybody know that he's going to, if not today, tomorrow, KTR may become the chief minister, Kavita is there, Harish there, everybody is there. So, again, all these issues, if you don't like or you want to vote out, then these things will be taken into consideration. But I think by and large Indian politics, family rule is not
Acceptable.
it is to some extent, definitely acceptable.
And where the ministers perhaps look competent as well. Is it an issue?
Yeah, I think, KTR himself, if you look at KTR and Kavita and Harish Rao, if you take out KCR from the picture, they themselves have gone into some stature, and, they have made a name for themselves and left a mark in their respective fields. So when people look at voting based on family rule, I don't think this will be a big factor. But as Vamshi said, if they want to vote out KCR, this will definitely be a factor.
That thing, doesn't it ring a resonance where you say, I don't get one job, your family got 4 jobs?
Yeah, it is. It will ring a bell. Again, only if people have decided to vote out BRS. Families are completely acceptable, and everybody has a family. Everybody lives in a family. Every family wants everyone in the family to do better. So I think we all of us have grown up with that. The challenge and the problem opposition parties have had in pushing this narrative is that they have not really been able to establish what these families did wrong. The members of this family did wrong.
They do say corruption and cornering.
Yes.
Even, of course, that's all wild allegation till you get proven.
Exactly. That is the problem.
You spoke about employment, Vamsi. that's another big issue that this election where you're speaking about. The youth vote is what? More than about 40% or so, less than 35 years, I think. Is that really going to be? KTR has been repeatedly saying that, see our numbers, we have done adequately well. Is that going to be one of the deciding factors this election?
See, the problems for political parties and politicians, particularly in the social media, is that narrative. When some narrative is being built, how successfully you countered it, whether you allowed it to grow so much that it takes you your chances, it will hit your chances or not is the question. And I would definitely say that somewhere they failed on that count. Yes, definitely government jobs were given, but when if some incident has happened, when one girl committed suicide, you should not look at the reason for the suicide, but thousands of students gathered very spontaneously. And then, there was some kind of a dharna and all that. That shows that, yes, people are not happy with the employment.
And you're saying it is completely spontaneous. The resonance is there for the issue.
It was there. Of course, it died down is a second issue. But suddenly people have started gathering and, they started raising slogans and all that. And somewhere this group one, they could not successfully conduct. These paper leaks and all also caused a little bit dent. But they could have built another narrative that a lot of employment is not just government. And then Harish also keeps on saying that, what we said is that whatever the employment, Telangana people will get it, which otherwise is taken away by the Andhra and Rayalaseema. What we promised is that the Telangana people themselves will get these jobs. These kind of things, they somehow could not successfully counter the campaign that they failed on the employment creation part.
Big issue, employment, and if you have people like Teenmar Mallanna or others who are going out and campaigning, is that going to make a difference to the vote?
Well, talking about employment, I think it's more than the employment, the perception created by the opposition parties and as well as the government. There were one or two very damaging statements from the Chief Minister himself in the Assembly. He said, I never promised a job to every family. Then he said it's not... no government can fill up jobs, give 100% jobs to 100% people, 100% government jobs.
So all of us know that's true.
All of us know that's a fact. But when it comes from a personality like KCR, that kind of impact that goes, he is unable to give. So that's why he's trying to escape. So, I don't know, a smart politician like KCR, what context he said, but, that people took it as, that this government is incapable of giving jobs. Though they have given a document in the assembly that 1.30 lakh jobs were given in different departments. They gave a list and everything. But when it went to people outside, the perception has not changed. Perception is still that this government has failed in these jobs, and the opposition parties have definitely done their best to keep the issue alive. And apart from that, the government.
Will the youth vote actually go possibly against? KTR argues that there are many other schemes and you're benefited, your land rates have gone up. Will that be cushioning the anger?
Yeah, I think, the TRS surveys also showed that, 18 to 35 age group is actually against them. So that's a big number, when you look at the demographic and the voters list, that's a huge number. As you said, that is 35 to 40%. So that's a huge number. And if they are willingly want to vote out this bias government, nobody can influence them. The thing is that they can't be influenced. Their anger cannot be influenced by money or some other sops, but jobs. And I think it's the making of BRS government itself, because of those damaging statements. When KCR speaks, that's a very strong message. People believe in him. He has that personality. Look, where whatever he speaks is people take it as something strong. So those damaging statements, I think, created a perception that this government has failed more than actually what happened on the government.
Politics is perhaps all about elections is about perception. Pappu image as well. Yeah. So it is going to be a deciding factor. Youth.
Yes.
Okay. Now, unfair of me to pin you all on it, but for my excitement and our viewers, I'll ask you to take numbers.
Hung. I'd go with hung. No one's going to get a majority.
And you're giving 20 plus to the BJP, almost, or at least double.
Like I said, I'll repeat what I said. I'm sticking my neck out 15 to 24.
I'll go by the betting market figures which I've seen. They are saying 59 to 61 for BRS, and Congress is behind by 5 to 6 seats. So maybe I'll go by the betting market.
So, which means with an MIM support, they should be safe.
As of now.
I don't see any hung. It will be kind of a one-sided thing will be there. And second factor, when BRS themselves or their surveys point out that somewhere into the 40 bracket of Congress. So that means there is a sort of a wave it should be there. Unless there is a wave, they won't reach even that figure. And if there is a wave, they won't stop it at that figure is my consideration. But if people take this development into consideration and then the continuance of the schemes into consideration, then BRS will have an edge over it. Or otherwise, if there is an anti-incumbency and the wave sort of it that brought them to the 40, it will not stop at the 40, is my take on it.
Okay, that's a balanced journalistic view, which keeps us safe, I guess, when we are giving out figures, which is also unfair because there is still a few days left. And who's going to do? Is booth management going to be a big issue?
If you ask me as an voter, I may say something, but if you ask me as a journalist, I should not say it. That is what I'm saying.
And apart from that, you should also, in this 10 days, KCR is still to address 34 meetings. So he can always, change that, get back that 2-3% from people. It might change the situation. But, as Vamshi said, if the undercurrent of anti-incumbency is there, I think nobody can stop Congress.
Does these last 10 days matter? Because even BJP is going to be carpet bombing their leaders. Congress is going to come, Rahul, Priyanka. There's still people claim that there is a emotional connect. Is that converting into votes and anything change you see?
There will be slight shifts in terms of supports.
But you stick with your original analysis.
See,
yes.
what we do at any given point of time is take an educated guess. We really don't know what's in the mind of the voter. Nobody can say that. Even all the opinion polls, pre-election opinion polls, have gone topsy-turvy lots of times. And
Ours largely as journalists is based on perception, I guess. Thank you so much, Vamsi, Ravi and Balu. I know you're all very, very busy journalists, but thank you for taking out time. So, an exciting, interesting and very informative discussion. Thanks so much for watching, and we will keep coming back to you with more excitement from the ground. And that's the place that everyone is targeting to get to finally after the 3rd of December, if there is a clear result. Otherwise, a few days more. In Hyderabad, with camera person Nagraju, Sudhir, NDTV.